development, recognizing that there is still work to do. Our collective efforts support the growth of MSMEs and contribute to broader goals of sustainable and inclusive economic development in Africa. Together, we can build a prosperous ecosystem for African entrepreneurs, fostering innovation, creating jobs, and promoting economic resilience. So thank you very much for your support, for your time, for your commitment to this vital initiative. Thank you for being here today, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the session and to continue working with you to the continuation of the Alliance for Entrepreneurship in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. So Sergio mentioned the two working groups in his progress report. So I'm now pleased to welcome Ms. Heike Hamgart, Managing Director for Southern and Eastern Mediterranean at EBRD, to give us an update on the Startups Working Group. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm incredibly happy to be here for and represent the EBRD at this event that really brings together a lot of partners. But I think I want to also highlight a big thank you very personally also to Vice President Solomon Quainer, who's been really since the day one a champion of entrepreneurship in Africa and the Alliance. So I think I'm incredibly happy to be here and speaking today. Also to follow up on what Vice President Sergio has said a little bit about what we have done the last few years, and I think what we are doing in actually developing these partnerships in greater depth and in greater impact. So EBRD, we are at the moment only in North Africa, but we feel incredibly honored and also a bit daunted by our shareholders asking us to go to 6 new countries, including lovely Kenya in sub-Saharan Africa. So Kenya, Nigeria, Benin, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal for next year. But I'm based in Cairo, and I think we've already working a lot together on entrepreneurship in North Africa. And so I don't want to repeat what has been said of the Alliance as such, but really delve a bit deeper about the partnership, the shared institutional experience in the working group on startups. And people who know me, I'm a big fan of cars. So I think actually partnerships are also a little bit like cars. You know, they really need to come together for the car to move forward. And like Sergio was saying that we need some risk mitigants. Yes, so without an airbag, I think we won't drive particularly fast. But without, you know, an electric vehicle, of course now it's all electric, we will not really be able to accelerate. So it's also about how we can have electricity in the car that functions. We need a navigation system, so we need the right advice. We hopefully train the drivers how to drive. And so I think all of these elements of partnerships, not one institution can provide alone, but we need each other to really provide these elements for us to drive safely from A to B and to get to our destination quickly. And I think what also Sergio already has said, we're so happy by the new members, associate members that came to the Alliance only last year. I think now I sort of don't want to miss anyone, but basically the network of knowledge and innovative practice that particularly informs the startup working group that we co-lead with the EIB, and I see also already the EIB also in the room, so which we're really doing together, is bringing the associate members to help our work on the startup scene. So I want to mention Algebra Ventures, Falak, AfricInvest, GTEx Africa, who are all hosting a summit in Marrakesh this week to really see of how the startup scene can be deepened and supported with the right instruments. And I'm incredibly happy that actually Sergio mentioned Yola Fresh Morocco as one of the examples that the Star Venture program of EBRD supported. It's in the report as well, because it really shows together with technology, advice, that a food supply chain platform can really reduce costs and grow regionally without a lot of extra logistical waste, but by actually sourcing a network that's powered by technology and reducing food wastage. And what is important when you look at startups is really that you take the startup entrepreneurs from the ideation stage, so they all have great ideas, but then there's often a phase where it's difficult for them to get more support on becoming bankable, becoming investable, becoming a company that really can spread its wings. And there, the work of the Star Venture program with mentorship, with networks, with events, really helped a company like Yola Fresh to go from the pre-seed stage, raise pre-seed funding, and ultimately actually become an attractive company for venture capital funding and investment. And I'm very pleased to say they have now raised over $2 million in venture funding for their next expansion phase. And it shows that if you bridge this initial gap with cooperation, you can really reach a stage where you become an attractive investment proposition for VC funds. So the Star Venture program, which is what we bring into our working group together with the EIB, is really a package, holistic A to Z entrepreneurship program that looks at mentorship, but also really matches successful entrepreneurs in a certain sector. So for example, in the food retail space, with new entrants to the market, to really develop a tailor-made program from idea to venture capital funding. And so this is really a working group where we exchange our ideas of the program and how we can learn together and deepen together with the associate members. So how can we better involve accelerators? How can we better involve early stage VC funds, late stage VC funds? How we can bring the philanthropists who want to invest in innovative startup technology into the program. So this is part of the working group, and this is part of, hopefully next time you will see not just 25, but a lot more projects also in the startup scene that are coming out of this working group that takes a lot of time to look more deeply into the barriers for startup enterprises across the continent, across Africa, and how the network of startup enterprises can learn from each other and build really strong alliances through the Alliance for Entrepreneurship, but also through the alliance with each other and learning from experiences in successful venture financing and in successful growth across a number of markets across the continent. So I personally am very excited about the deepening of the alliance into working groups, into the next level of really partnerships. And so I just want to thank particularly the African Development Bank, but also of course the IFC for hosting the alliance and for the opportunities that it creates in connecting, in building partnerships, and hopefully for us to all drive very fast and very safe to our destination. Thank you very much.
Hello. All right, good. Thank you very much, Heike. And I think you've set us up very nicely for the panel discussion, which comes next, which is all about partnerships for transformational growth. So if I can just invite my panel to come up and join me. If I can have Mr. Papa Sarr, who is Executive Director for Mobilization, Partnerships and Communication at the Agence Française de Développement Group. Mr. George Odo, who is Senior Partner and Managing Director, East and Southern Africa for Afrique Invest. Yeah. And finally, if I can have my boss, Mr. Ahmed Atut, who is the Director, Financial Sector Development Department at AfDB. Join the panel, please. There. Yeah, where the lights are. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for being part of this panel. And I think what we wanted to do on this panel was really to have a conversation about partnerships and to sort of demonstrate how transformational the Alliance has been and the potential for the Alliance to be transformational. So if I can just kick off, and this is a question to all of you, so maybe we'll start with Papa and maybe just move down the line. So if you can just talk to us about how the alliance fits with your strategies regarding MSME development and entrepreneurship, please, from your various perspectives. So, Papa?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'd like to thank Sergio and colleagues, EBRD, AfDB, and all the partners that are here in the French Treasury. To mention quickly key figures that will come back to what Sergio and Solomon was mentioning, the inception of the youth investment banks into the alliance, and then the Choose Africa program we're running right now at the Agence Française de Développement. The AfDB and the the French Development Agency co-funded a program I used to run in the Senegalese government from 2018 to 22, which was supporting youth and female entrepreneurship. That program helped create 200,000 jobs, supported at least 5,000 startups to get access to loans from $5,000 to $200,000. That initiative was duplicated in several countries. And then when I left the government to go to work, before I left the government to work the French Development Agency back in September 22, the president of African Development Bank reached out to me with Solomon to work on a concept called the Entrepreneurship Investment Banks for Youth. Why? It is important because the challenges I faced in 5 years as minister in Senegalese government is if we went to the banks, World Bank, I name it, African Development Bank, French Development Agency, commercial banks, all of them together, if you come see them, you see we need resources, funding to support young entrepreneurs and startups, female-owned businesses, without collateral, without guarantees, without any land, property, etc., etc. The answer was no. They are risky. We can't lend them resources. Or you have to fully guarantee 100% upfront uploaded so that they disburse. The president of Senegal at that time gave us around $50 million a year from government budget, and the objective was to support young and female entrepreneurs without asking them such guarantees and collateral, and make it fast and disburse in 3 months. This triggered, in effect, after a year of operation, the French, the World Bank, AfDB started to come to see us. Okay, let's see how we can work together. Now that you prove that it can work, and we got ultimately $150 million from the African Development Bank, $20 million from the French Development Agency, USAID, MasterCard Foundation, and so on, and ended up having literally $300 million from donors to support and scale up those entrepreneurship programs, from startups to nano credit, small micro loans from $150 to $200,000. Why I'm making this story, it's important to see how the partnership fits between AfDB, IFC, the French Treasury, and the different partners, EBRD today, IFAD, and others that are joining the alliance. It created a accumulation when IFC President and Sergio Matajob and others, we created the alliance as founding members to see how we could scale this up and bring concrete projects, proposals on the alliance platform to make it as concrete as possible so that the countries, the young entrepreneurs benefit from it. And the French Development Agency committed under the leadership of President Macron after the June summit Sergio mentioned in Paris to put €1 billion over the next 5 years to support governments and public entities that will need to set up initiatives or support existing initiatives, be it banks, agencies, new initiatives that support young and women-led businesses and enterprises. This is what we call the Choose Africa 2, which completes the Choose Africa One.
Nilianza kuendesha boda miaka michache iliyopita. Wakati huo nilifikiria siwezi kushindwa, lakini siku moja nilikuwa hospitalini kwa miezi 3. Kosa moja karibu liondoe kila kitu.
Boda ni life, lakini life si kitu bila usalama. Zingatia kanuni za trafiki. Hakikisha unavaa helmet na reflector jacket wakati wote.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Welcome to Nairobi, Kenya. On behalf of the Government of Kenya and the African Development Bank Group, I wish to extend a warm welcome to all distinguished guests and delegates to the highly anticipated 2024 annual meetings in Nairobi, Kenya. Kenya's desire to host the 2024 annual meeting and the 59th annual meeting of the African Development Bank Group underscores its commitment to advancing regional and continental cooperation towards an inclusive and sustainable development. The Republic of Kenya takes pride in the foresights of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, in singling out contemporary African problems of socio-economic transformation required given the existential threat of climate change, the required reforms of the multilateral development banks to be fit for purpose, scale up resources, and championing for the reforms of the global financial architecture. This is the 59th annual meeting of the African Development Bank Group and also marks 60th anniversary of the African Development Bank. It is thus a celebration. It has a theme, African economic transformation, the African Development Bank Group, reforming of the global financial architecture. It is such an exciting theme at this time in African continent. The annual meetings will provide an unparalleled networking opportunities, facilitating strategic collaboration and partnership with the key decision makers from African Development Bank Group member countries, as well as all shareholders, but also explore feasible solutions for African economies and the transformation agenda. We want to assure you all, our distinguished guests and delegates, that Kenya is fully prepared to host the event, ensuring a seamless experience for everyone. The event will be hosted at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. The historical significance of this convention center is that it hosted the World Bank and International Monetary Fund annual meetings half a century ago. That was in 1973. We look forward to welcoming you to Nairobi for what promises to be a historic chapter in our ongoing partnership with the African Development Bank Group, the African region, and the world at large. So karibu Kenya, welcome to Kenya. Asante sana, thank you very much.
The other bill that will be read for the first time this afternoon is a bill pertaining the county government's additional allocation bill 2024, and the memoranda of the county government's additional allocation bill is to make provisions for the transfer of conditional allocations from the national government's share of revenue and from the development partners to the county governments for the financial year 2024 2024-2025. Clause 7 of the bill provides for the county government's books of accounts to reflect in regards to the national government transfers. And Clause 3 contains the provision for the allocation of conditional grants to the county governments for the financial year 2023-2024, and also provides for the transfer of these conditional allocations from the consolidated fund to the respective county revenue fund. So after the tabling of these bills, the two bills that will be read for the first time this afternoon, the House will consider the National Assembly amendments to the County Licensing Uniform Procedures Bill. This is Senate Bills number 9 of the year 2022. We have two divisions this afternoon. This is where members vote for a bill, either to adopt or move to the next stage. The Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bills number 44 of the year 2023 by the Senate Leader of the Majority Party, is a bill that is lined up for debate this afternoon. This is actually a resumption of debate, as well as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill. This is National Assembly Bills number 10 of the year 2024. Upon conclusion of debate on these bills, the Senate will be moving into division, and under the Committee of the Whole, the Tea Amendment Bill by Senator Wakili Hilary Sigei and the Maternal, Newborn and Child Health Bill, Senate Bills number 17 of the year 2023, have been lined up for consideration. Allow me to hand you over for this live broadcast, brought to you by KBC in partnership with PBU. And my name is Gladys Mungai. Allow me to hand you over for this live broadcast. Good afternoon.
As your servants whom we have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic, we seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
We have the quorum bell currently on at the Senate at 10 minutes. Guidance by the Speaker, Honorable Amason Kingi, currently presiding over the business of the Senate this afternoon. For senators who this morning were attending the national prayer breakfast, and some of them who are still within the presence of Parliament to make their way into the chamber this afternoon. And as we await for that quorum to be attained, allow me to take you through further details in the order paper this afternoon, where the House is set to consider other agenda lined up for debate this afternoon. And among them is the establishment of a national teaching and referral hospitals in Kenya. This is a motion by the Senator Johnson Maruma, the Senator for Taita Taveta County. In this motion, the Senator for Taita Taveta County seeks to have the Senate urge the Ministry of Health to establish a national teaching and referral hospital in the coast, eastern, northern eastern, Nyanza, and western regions, and fully equip the national teaching and referral hospitals with modern medical equipment, medical supplies, and personnel. The other aspect, which is being sought through this motion on establishment of national teaching and referral hospitals in Kenya, is that the county governments do allocate more funds to their respective health dockets to adequately facilitate their county level 5 and level 6 hospitals. This, according to the move of this motion, will enhance provision of critical health services to reduce the demand for such services from the national teaching and referral hospitals. The other motion coming up for debate this afternoon is an adjournment motion by the Senate Leader of the Majority Party, Honorable Aaron Cheriot, that pursuant to Standing Orders number 31, subsection 3, the Senate do adjourn until the 25th of June 2024. So we have the House upon conclusion of business this afternoon, proceeding to about a 3 weeks recess. The County Licensing Uniform Procedures Bill, Senate Bills number 9 of the year 2022, is a bill that senators will be debating this afternoon, as well as a motion by nominated Senator Catherine Muma on the development of a policy and law for social risk management in infrastructure development projects in Kenya. In this motion, Senator Muma seeks to have the Senate resolve that the national and county governments do develop a social risk management policy that outlines the standards, guidelines, and procedures for guiding matters infrastructure and other development projects, both at the national as well as county level. And 2, that the national executive establishes an independent multi-sectoral agency under the authority of the Cabinet Secretary in charge of social security and protection to monitor the implementation of matters infrastructure and other development projects in Kenya. Allow me to hand you over back to the chamber for more developments.
Order number 5, papers.
Senator Catherine Muma. We will defer that particular order. Proceed to the next order, clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
We will defer that order. We proceed to the next order, clerk.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 52-1, the Honorable Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my statement is regarding recently observed International Day to End Obstetric, Fistula and Mental Health Awareness Month. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52-1 to make a statement on a matter of general topic concern, namely drawing the attention of this House to two significant observances in the month of May. The International Day of the End Obstetric Fistula, observed last week on May 23rd with the theme Breaking the Cycle, Preventing Fistula Worldwide, and Mental Health Awareness Month, which underscores the theme mental health is a universal human right. Mr. Speaker, these two observances, while distinct, are deeply interconnected. Obstetric fistula, a severe childbirth injury, often results in profound psychological distress for affected women. The physical consequences of fistula, such as incontinence and social ostracization, lead to significant mental health challenges, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Mr. Speaker, sir, the theme of Mental Health Awareness Month resonates deeply with the principles of equality, dignity, and inclusivity. It highlights the fundamental need for accessible and equitable mental health care for all individuals, regardless of their background or circumstances. Similarly, the fight against obstetric fistula demands that we provide comprehensive maternal health care and psychological support to those affected. As leaders, it is incumbent upon us to acknowledge the dual challenges faced by women suffering from obstetric fistula, both physical and mental. Despite progress in maternal health care, the stigma and discrimination surrounding fistula persists, leading to social exclusion and barriers to seeking help. These challenges are mirrored in the broader context of mental health, where misconceptions and prejudices continue to hinder individuals from accessing care